Welcome back to the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Wu Ruiguo. We will continue our discussion with Professor Wang Kaocheng, Director of the Graduate Institute of Strategic Studies at Tamkang University. Kaocheng, in this segment, we're going to start off with Asia. Okay. We understand that, as I said at the beginning, Taiwan Strait, because of improved cross-strait relations, is no longer considered a hotspot around the world. But we look northward, we see Korean Peninsula between North and South Korea, especially in the last few weeks. North Korea has been making a lot of noises, quote unquote, with the test launch of ballistic missiles and also supposedly underground nuclear test. What do you think the North Korean intentions are? What is trying to convey to the rest of the world and countries surrounding North Korea, especially like Japan and China? What's the message behind all these actions?
I think at least for several reasons. First, that North Korea want to prove, I personally think that it has right to develop its own national defense policies, including developing nuclear capacities, long-range missiles, launch capabilities, to show that it is an independent country. It wants to develop what kind of defense policy it wants to have. The second, that because of the standstill of the six-party talk, I think the North Korea and also seeing that the improving relations, the closing relation between South Korea and the United States, so it has a certain kind of feeling threatened by the surrounding country, especially from the U.S. and South Korea, and also including Japan. So North Korea decides that the best way to defend its own security is developing nuclear weapons. I think that's because of with that kind of weapon, it thinks that it's be able to deter other countries to threat its national security.
To pose a threat to the North Korea.
Right. Yeah.
But there's
and also the third reason, if I may add that,
please. Also
is I can judging from its previous behavior. We cannot also deny it's a kind of bargain tactics by developing nuclear weapons. It can rest its bargaining position,
of course,
to hope with the new American administration to exchange for a better arrangement for its future and its relation with the United States.
Yes, and Kaocheng, you know that a persistent rumor or report is the fact that the current leader, Kim Jong-il, is not physically well, and there's been reports that he may be incapacitated, and one of his sons, the second son, apparently is in line to succeed Kim Jong-il when he does pass away from the scene. So in order to avoid international scrutiny and attention on the health status of the current leader in North Korea, that Kim Jong-il has implemented all these steps to try to raise, like you said, the bargaining position of North Korea in the future, but also at the same time divert attention away from the fact that North Korea is facing succession challenge. What do you think about such a persistent rumor?
Yeah, that may be not be a rumor, because we have seen that Kim Jong-il's health is not good too. But recently he also been elected as the national leaders again to show that he still can be able to handle his job well. But obviously the power succession is an issue for the North Korea. So that might be another reason to divert the attention from international side, and also to prove that he be able to handle the situation. And also I think relating to that, since Kim wanted to consolidate his power and his son's power, he must to win the support from the military side. So by standing with the military to allow the military to to conduct the long-range missile test and even conduct the nuclear test. Kim obviously, I think, is another kind of strategist to collide with the military to further consolidate he and his family's power.
Yes, and because of the totalitarian nature of the North Korean regime, succession politics is always very tricky.
Yeah.
Now the report says the second son is in line to succeed Kim Jong-il.
Yeah.
But will that actually happen? Nobody really knows, because apparently the second son is now visiting China to try to get the support from Beijing. But whether that's enough, like you said, military always the variable in the equation.
Yeah, but military support is always very important in power succession in totalitarian regimes.
Yes.
Yeah. But the problem, I think, for analyzing a country like North Korea is that because it's a closed government, so it's difficult from outsider observer to really to understand, to penetrate what's really going on there and what's their real intention. So we can only suspect several reasons to create a whole picture of its actions.
Yes, and we know that South Korean President Lee Myung-bak is currently visiting the U.S. And trying to exchange views with Washington on how to handle the North Korean situation. How would you think that under President Barack Obama, will the American policy towards North Korea be different? In the sense that, under President George Bush, it used to be that multilateral approach only with North Korea. Therefore, you mentioned the six-party talks, and never, bilaterally until the very final year of George Bush's presidency, that United States initiated secretly, in Paris, of all places, contact and engagement with North Korea on a one-on-one basis. But would you think that policy will continue under President Obama and under U.S. new U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton? Will that policy continue, that Washington will not engage on the bilateral basis with North Korea, but use the multilateral approach only?
Yeah. I will guess that probably will take the similar approach. At least in the beginning, I think the Obama administration will mostly rely on the multilateral approach to deal with this issue. Although we all know that Obama, during his campaign, he said that he will not resist the possibility to have a direct dialogue with both North Korea and Iran's leaders. But so far, since he took office, we haven't seen that happens. I think he has done that very cautiously. In the beginning, he mainly relied on the multilateral approach, that is 60-party talk, to deal with the North Korea's issues. And we have seen, like you just mentioned, that the South Korean president and Obama just released a joint opinion after their meeting. Obama said the United States still will concern and protect South Korea's security,
of course,
and will oppose North Korea's nuclear capability attempt. So I think that at the first stage, I think the Obama administration will still rely on the multilateral approach, and also I think it's not good timing to have a bilateral talk, especially North Korea has conducted the nuclear test. If the Obama administration right now have a bilateral talk with North Korea, I think Japan and South Korea and even China, I think, will be feel suspicious on this,
very nervous
about this action. But if the multilateral approach can be at least workable, I mean the 60-part talk can be resumed, I will think that maybe the Obama administration also will not resist to have a closer bilateral interaction with North Korea within the 6-party talks, and to possibly to reach a better deal to deal with these issues.
Let's shift the focus over to relations between North and South Korea. You know, we understand that current President Lee of South Korea has a very different approach than his predecessors. You know, he doesn't really actively seek closer relations with the North. Instead, he has a very pro-American, pro-U.S. policy.
Right.
You know, we could see from the FTA signed between South Korea and the U.S. And the importation of U.S. beef and the kind of domestic retaliations, you know, politically for President Lee within South Korea. But the fact of the matter remains is that he is not in a hurry, or he doesn't really have a grand plan to improve bilateral ties with the North. How would you think that would change the balance, you know, not only in terms of military security area, but also in terms of the overall, you know, the exchange of families, the social contacts, the economic relations? How would that change, you know, under the circumstances between the North and South Koreas?
Well, I would think that President Lee, North Korea's President Lee, certainly I think adopt a bilateral approach. I mean, on the political side, especially military side, he proved to be more harsh than his predecessors. I think he insisted that North Korea must give up nuclear weapons to
have any improvement of relations.
Yeah, and in exchange for South Korea's economic aid to North Korea. But on the other hand, I think the President Lee doesn't also want to completely cut the contact with North Korea. So I think the social and economic contact will continue can be implemented from the South Korea. But the problem is from the North Korea, since Pyongyang does not like President Lee's policy. Sometimes it will unilaterally cut irrational yes, for revenge, and unilaterally cut such kind of contact.
After identifying the trouble spots around the world, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back to the Taiwan Outlook, and we will continue to discuss what are the changes likely in U.S. security policy towards Asia and towards the rest of the world. We'll be back in 3 minutes.